Why did you do that?
To be the heavyweight champion of the world. His chin's gone.
But he's still Anthony Joshua.
Which is stiff and no rhythm, no skill, just power.
You're serious about fighting him?
Yeah.
Congrats on having such massive balls and also being super rich.
Yeah, if he's not handicapped, Anthony Joshua will knock him out.
Yeah, that's dangerous. That's dangerous. You know how much experience.
I think Anthony Joshua won the gold medal. Didn't he win the gold medal for the super heavyweights in the Olympics?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know Anthony Joshua's history, but I'm thinking about ring experience.
You won't believe this actually happened. AJ and Jake Paul just turned a press conference into the wildest family Thanksgiving argument you've ever seen, except with more shouting, fewer mashed potatoes, and a lot more trash talk. Chairs didn't fly, but egos definitely did. Reporters were confused, security was sweating, and the mic almost filed for early retirement. Stick around, because what AJ said at the end had Jake Paul looking like he forgot his whole script. Let's get into it.
If Jake Paul knocks out Anthony Joshua, this will be the biggest upset in boxing history. And these boys are heavyweights, and in heavyweight boxing, anything can happen. And this fight has just been officially announced. And on this, who I think is going to win this fight and how. Well, if I said to you, Jake Paul is going to win this fight by knockout, you would think I'm absolutely crazy, right? But the thing is, it can happen. 10-ounce gloves, heavyweight, Jake Paul can punch hard. But do I think that's going to happen? Absolutely not, mate. Anthony Joshua is an absolute beast, an unbelievable, highly skilled, highly trained, highly experienced professional boxer with power in both hands, and he's really good at finishing people off. And
Two fully adult humans managed to go from, this is a professional opportunity, to, I'm ready to challenge your entire family tree to a duel in record-breaking time, all because someone spoke into a microphone a little too confidently. 1 second it's calm, professional, sophisticated. The next second someone blinks too confidently, and suddenly the conference room turns into a low-budget wrestling promo without the folding chairs.
There's some boxing fans around the table, and Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. Geez. What do we think of that?
You know something?
Are we getting to the point of ridiculousness, or?
Well, it's coming off with a Tyson fight because we don't know what happened. It felt fixed because Tyson. If it's not fixed,
yeah, if it's not fixed, then it's ridiculous. I think I don't know how it's being passed.
He shouldn't be in there with him.
It's crazy. If Joshua goes for him,
did you see what he done to Ngannou? Did you see what he done to Ngannou?
I don't know how on earth it's being passed to fight.
Is that a bit like what we were talking before about going to Saudi? Is that almost like are we saying now Joshua's like, is that almost like him going to Saudi as a footballer?
Yeah.
AJ walks in like a man who got dressed by confidence itself, not a stylist. Every step says, yes, I'm built like a Greek statue and I know it. Meanwhile, Jake strolls in like he just invented boxing yesterday, and the universe should thank him personally.
Jake Paul needs to fire his advisors, his people that tell him to make these fights, because that's not good. Did Jake Paul not watch the Ngannou fight? Like, do you know what? Like, obviously, there's making money, but then at the same time, it's like now it's absurd. I don't think Jake Paul's bad for boxing. I think he's good. I like Jake Paul. Like, you see what he's doing with women boxing as well. I like Jake Paul.
Both of them sit down with smiles so fake you could bottle and sell them as Tupperware. Then boom, someone breathes too deeply, and apparently that's enough to start a war. AJ politely points out that Jake thinking he could beat him is borderline creative fiction, and you could physically see the molecules of Jake's ego leave his body and return swinging.
Who did Terrence Crawford fight his 11th fight?
I don't know.
Who did Arthur Beterbiev fight? Jake Paul has found a way to make himself the cash cow early in his career to where we shouldn't care.
Jake Paul has become the fighter right now that everybody wants to fight because right now he is the cash cow. He made $40 million just off of Netflix.
He has found a way to do something with his following, get under people's skin to make people care about these fights.
Jake launches into a speech that sounds like it was written by a motivational speaker trapped inside a protein powder commercial. Something about destiny, fate, delivering a knockout the world has been waiting for, and the general vibe of, this is my action movie. AJ, meanwhile, looks like he's trying to calculate if delusion is contagious. Then the financial flexing begins. Jake brings up the famous $50 million number like it's an Uno reverse card. AJ looks ready to reply with a PowerPoint titled, "Yes, I like money too, genius." Suddenly, the room transforms into a business seminar disguised as a boxing event. If someone pulled out a whiteboard to compare revenue projections, no one would have been surprised. AJ basically says, if someone offered me $50 million, do you really think I'd say, nah? And that moment, that very sentence, left Jake staring across the table like someone just canceled his subscription to Confidence. He wants money and cardio without permanent trauma. Someone else calls it a low-risk stepping stone. Translation: Jake is the world's most financially profitable punching bag. Jake hears that, nods confidently like it was a compliment, and adds it to his list of reasons he's the chosen one.
When Jake Paul phones you up and says we're going to give you tens and tens and tens and tens, to fight us, and by the way, it's Jake versus Joshua, do you really think we're going to turn around and go, oh, no, it's got to be Joshua against Jake? Who gives a flying fuck who's where on the poster? The deal's right, take the money, knock him spark out, move on. That's it. Oh, I want to walk first. Oh no, shut up. There's too many fighters do this. Does my nutting.
Going to walk first?
Yes. Who cares?
Mad. No, it's just mad.
We'll walk the night before if they want us to. We'll go in the ring. We'll sleep in the ring.
Then the technical debate starts. Exhibition versus real fight. Nothing brings out chaos like men arguing over glove sizes like they're negotiating peace treaties. One side says 10-ounce gloves. Another mentions 15-ounce gloves. Someone else suggests weight classes. Suddenly, 3 experts are arguing, and the only thing AJ contributes is a grin that very clearly says, whatever gloves you want to wear to regret your life choices is fine. Discussions escalate from this is a fight to what weight is Jake to is it cruiser, heavyweight? Then Eddie Hearn joins the circus. He explains to the world that Joshua is actually interested, but Jake has a habit of changing his mind like a toddler in a candy aisle. Eddie basically says, yes, the money is incredible, but we also don't want to plan for a fight that magically evaporates because Jake woke up and wanted attention. Jake hears this and tightens his jaw like someone just accused him of canceling weekend plans for clout, which, well, you decide.
We think the fight is very straightforward. There's a lot of people that are very excited about the thought of Anthony Joshua almost evaporating Jake Paul from the actual boxing world. You have to admire the front of Jake Paul and the heart. He's had criticism about the level of opposition. Now he steps up to a whole new stratosphere. But, for us, they made the offer, of course, financially, it was huge. We were planning potentially a little 8-round run out this year, and now the 8-round run out will be against Jake Paul for more money than we could have ever dreamed of. So at the serious stuff for us, if you heard from Turkey Al Sheikh, begins in 2026. But at the same time, this was really an offer we couldn't refuse. And it's a massive event. And as AJ said in his press release, no mercy. This ain't no exhibition. This is a real heavyweight fight.
Even the question of streaming platforms somehow becomes a topic. Netflix, DAZN, Outer Space, everyone suddenly cares about where the fight airs more than the fight itself. Eddie hints the entire thing might have been an 8-round warm-up that accidentally turned into Jake Paul mode. You can practically hear the universe laughing. Every time the conference calms down, someone tries to hype the danger. One analyst talks about how much respect Jake deserves for stepping into the ring with a real fighter, and immediately follows it with the verbal equivalent of, but also, this is a terrible idea. More analysts enter like substitute teachers trying to reason with a classroom that has already declared martial law. Someone stresses that Joshua takes every fight seriously. Translation: even if this is supposed to be entertainment, AJ doesn't do half effort. Another expert says that even if Joshua tries not to hurt Jake, the man is basically built in a lab for punching, so light work might still feel like a high-speed collision with reality. Then things somehow get emotional. Analysts talk about AJ's mindset, his comeback, his legacy, his determination. Jake listens like he's auditioning for the role of guy no one believes in but wins anyway. You could practically hear inspirational music playing in his head while everyone else debated logistics.
I'm sick of seeing hypocrite fighters and ex-fighters criticising this fight when they would fight Jake Paul for 5
Absolutely
minutes.
right. He will be fighting for a world title soon, off the back of this one.
Spencer,
let me finish.
Pack it in.
after he beats Jake Paul and ices him, and he's got to do that in 3 minutes, by the way, otherwise it's a lose situation again. There's a certain Fabio Wardley who's just become WBO world champion.
Yeah.
That could manifest itself, and that could be his route back into
So let me
getting the world
get
title
this right. We all know what this is. This isn't real sport. This is entertainment value.
Yeah.
The sport factor is that we think that Jake Paul's going to get knocked out of the ring, but when it comes down to it, there's no real legitimacy behind this fight, behind a big bag of money.
Someone worries that if AJ fights Jake first, it delays fights with Tyson Fury. Someone else says if AJ gets paid this insanely well, delaying anything is fair game. Everyone nods. Jake nods too, pretending that point was about him being the next big challenge, not the next big paycheck. Then the conversation hits peak psychology when someone says Jake fighting AJ finally answers the world's biggest boxing question: what happens when he fights someone his own size who is not collecting a pension? And the room goes silent, like everyone suddenly remembered they might actually find out. Then the legacy bomb drops. If you lose to a real fighter in a real fight, the curiosity bubble pops. The science experiment ends. The storyline disappears. The what if dissolves. Another analyst jokes about seeing him on set and missing him on the podcast. Joshua sits there like, are we talking about me or Hollywood right now? Then the PPV promotion segment hits. Fights, dates, interviews, everything except the thing the conference was supposed to be about. Jake looks confused. AJ looks bored. The crowd looks entertained. The world looks ready to pre-order popcorn. Finally, things return to the main topic, and the vibe of the room transforms into a global town hall on betting against reality.
I wish Anthony all the best of luck. But Anthony, listen to me. Don't take a dive with this Jake Paul, mate. Do not do that, not for $1 billion, my pal. Don't do it. Don't do as the others have done. Do not take dives. If he fights you, knock him dead as a nit, and good luck with it.
Tyson says he's going to bet $1 million on Jake Paul knocking out Joshua.
This is what I'm saying. How does that work?
One analyst flatly says Joshua is still in his physical prime, and calling this an exhibition is basically comedic. Another calls the idea unnecessary and says AJ should jump straight to Tyson Fury. Someone counterpoints that AJ needs to feel the whole hands wrapped, cameras flashing, adrenaline pumping routine again to rebuild his confidence. Someone else says they don't want his final fight to be Jake Paul because that would make his career feel like a season finale written by Twitter. Then, the moment of the century, a reporter asks how close the fight is to being made. The room doesn't argue. The room just breathes. Another analyst calls the matchup bigger numbers than Crawford versus Canelo. Everyone gasps, then pretends they didn't. Someone says they don't love AJ pausing his career for this. Someone else says if someone offers you life-changing money to punch Jake Paul for less stress than sparring, you don't say no unless you hate basic math. The energy builds, tension rises, the room buzzes.
It is a tough spot for him. I sort of sympathize with him because I feel like if he doesn't beat him quicker than he beat Francis, people are just going to write it off. They're going to say, oh, he's carrying him, or it's scripted, all the stuff that you hear when Jake fights. And so I'll ask you bluntly, have there been any discussions about, because you see what everyone's saying, it's an exhibition, there's an agreement, there's a secret contract. It's the same story every time he fights, and I don't believe it for a second, but now you're on the opposite side of that table. Have any of those discussions happened regarding this fight?
It's an 8-round professional fight, no different to a normal professional fight.
And then, the final blow, someone asks AJ for his prediction. He smiles. He doesn't yell. He doesn't brag. He doesn't pound the table. He simply exists with so much confidence that the oxygen in the room starts questioning itself. Not a single insult needed. AJ stands up like this is already a flashback. Jake stands up like someone hit his hype button. Two undefeated egos staring each other down. Zero blinking, zero breathing, zero brain cells dedicated to calmness. The press cameras explode like fireworks. Fans scream. Reporters lean over barriers like they're watching history. And then, just when everyone expects a handshake or maybe a mic drop, they keep staring. It lasts so long that the tension becomes hilarious. They walk away still staring like middle schoolers who got sent to different classrooms after arguing about who invented basketball. And that, right there, is the hook for the entire world. Two men, two mountains of ego, two totally different visions of reality. One sees a comeback, the other sees destiny. The fans see chaos, and chaos sells.
If he wins, people are still going to say, well, you only beat Jake Paul, right? The man that lost to Tommy Fury, after all, right? That's the only loss in his record, Tommy Fury. You're telling me that Tommy Fury is going to beat him and then Anthony Joshua's not going to beat him? Can you imagine? That would be the biggest downfall of any boxer's career. The reality is, He's not going to lose. There is no way on this earth that Jake Paul can beat Anthony Joshua in a boxing match. That's just a fact, okay?
The final takeaway wasn't something anyone said. It was something everyone felt. Win, lose, exhibition, official match, whatever the terms are. A collision is coming. Not a collision of bodies, a collision of identities, confidence, and pride. Because this isn't just a fight. This is a debate about reality itself. And when the whole room finally empties, that's when the funniest part happens. Everyone pretends the conference is over, but nobody actually feels finished. Reporters pack their bags, but inside they're thinking, did we just witness history or the world's most expensive ego contest? The analysts walk out debating like philosophers in a cafeteria, and the fans leave already writing their tweets in their heads. You can practically hear him thinking, everyone will doubt me, which is perfect for my documentary trailer. AJ, on the other hand, isn't thinking about documentaries. He's thinking about business, efficiency, and whether someone turned the thermostat down too low during the conference. His entire posture says, this is a transaction, and I'm the product that sells out instantly. Jake's entire posture says, I'm the sequel, the spin-off, and the reboot.
It's been done. You know, when Jake Paul fought Mike Tyson, it's like a catch-22. It's like Mike Tyson got paid, so that's a benefit to him. But yeah, Jake Paul got a lot of accolades for, you know, fighting a very much retired Mike Tyson. But I don't know. I think they're different fights.
But if one man is deserving of a huge payday, surely it's Joshua for what he's done with the brand.
Oh, definitely, all the time. But AJ, how much big paydays has he had?
Meanwhile, the internet is already exploding. Half the world is saying Jake is insane. The other half is saying the universe must protect this man at all costs because he might actually be willing to try the impossible just to prove he's built differently. The algorithms don't care who's right. They just see profit and start sprinting. Memes are loading like weapons. Comment sections sharpen themselves. Fans become scientists overnight, predicting outcomes using charts drawn on the backs of Chipotle receipts. Nobody is neutral. Everyone becomes a boxing genius because nothing creates confidence like no consequences. And while the world argues, AJ and Jake are quietly somewhere doing the exact same thing, replaying the stare down in their heads. AJ is probably thinking, this is going to be simple. Stay sharp, because fights aren't made in the ring. They're made in tension. The stare down wasn't two men trying to intimidate each other. It was two realities trying to overwrite each other. One based on legacy, the other is belief. That's why the world can't look away, because everyone wants to know one thing. What happens when immovable confidence meets unstoppable conviction? And nobody, not the experts, not the fans, not even the fighters, knows the answer yet.